Between the Grooves is hosted by James Curtis, music director and morning man in the Greater Toronto Area on Joy Radio. And Aisha Woods, Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, and musician. Together, they talk with artists and industry insiders to discover our connection between music and faith. You can connect with us on Facebook or Twitter at Between Grooves. Now, here's James and Aisha.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Only Aisha would start the podcast with singing because she is an artist in her own right.
You know what? Christmas songs are like, they're so beautiful, but they are the toughest, most intricate songs to play. Like,
They're the good ones.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're like studying forever just to get ready for Christmas time and having to play them anyway.
Right. And then you play it once or twice and then you can forget about it for 11 months.
Right.
Yeah. I hear you. Mm-hmm. Well, it is Christmas on Between the Grooves. We're having a little bit of a party here. We're going to be having a lot of our previous guests drop by to share some meaningful moments, maybe some funny memories, and some special Christmas stories. So pour yourself some eggnog, maybe sit by the fireplace or just listen in your car while you're driving.
It's crazy when you think about how fast Christmas has gotten here.
Yeah.
Like, man, we're preparing for all kinds of things. And what do you guys have planned for Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve? Well, you know, in the past, my favorite thing to do on a Christmas Eve was to go for a drive into the sections of town where people have their front lawns and everything else decked out with the lights and decorations and all that other stuff. And there were certain neighborhoods that had, like, every house would have it, and almost like a competition, who's got the biggest deal happening. That's what we liked doing in the past, although in the last few years, I've been frantically wrapping gifts Christmas Eve because I didn't get to it before, so we didn't really do a whole lot. So I'm not sure what this year holds, although this year with Christmas Eve being on a Saturday might end up being a family get-together, like my wife's extended family getting together, because that's maybe the only time that everybody's available because it's the weekend.
Right.
So we might end up doing that. To be honest, no plans yet, no specific plans yet, and we're this close to Christmas and no plans yet. But you know, my wife's from Guyana, so these things can happen very last minute, as you know, right? So,
well, we're looking forward to Christmas Eve service. And last year we actually had Christmas Eve service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was really nice. I mean, we were able to enjoy Christmas Eve with our families, and with Christmas being on a Saturday or Sunday rather.
Yeah.
We'll have our Christmas Eve service and actually no service on Christmas Day.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So Christmas Eve will be a big deal.
Yeah, it is pretty big.
Well, speaking of Christmas Eve, our first guest today on our Between the Grooves Christmas special, Cade Thompson.
I think the most special thing for me about Christmas, as far as a Christmas memory, is the Christmas Eve service that my family goes to every year. We're at church, we got our candle in our hand, candlelit service, and we're singing Silent Night. And I think that, to me, when that moment hits every year, I realize the true meaning of Christmas once again, and it feels like Christmas, for sure.
I actually forgot about the candle lighting.
Did you?
I mean, that's what Christmas Eve service is, anyways. And
that's like the highlight.
I know.
Literally.
But I do know that it has been a fire hazard and a concern of churches as well. So some churches have gone away from it because of the fact that, you get some little child with a candle in their hand and oops, now the chair's on fire or something, right?
Right. Well, for us, our little people, they will have the battery operated tea light looking candles.
Right. Or just hold up your phone with the light on.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. There you go.
Then you feel like you're at a concert.
Right. Right. Merry Christmas. I guess the main thing for me is just spending time with family. I would rather just kick back at home and spend time with my immediate family. Not that I don't want to spend time with extended family or even people at
Right.
church for that matter, but I would rather spend as much time with my immediate family at home, in front of the fire, or by the Christmas tree,
Yes.
on the couch, maybe even watching like a Christmas movie together or something like that. So it's not that I'm not into the Christmas Eve service. To me,
Right.
the biggest part is the family time.
Oh man, it's unmatched. It's so important. And let's hear what Stacia Hepburn has to say about it.
So my current answer would be just time with family, just sitting around, having family meals and enjoying that time together. Going back, it was a lot of the gifts, was always the childhood fun.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember one Christmas I got a gumball machine.
Were there gumballs in it?
Yes.
Okay.
It was like a dream to me, like
Yeah.
a tall, like gumball machine that you can turn, like when you go into like an old restaurant
Yes.
and you put your 25 cents in. And I don't know why, that was just like something I really, really wanted, is a gumball, like my own gumballs.
Did you have to
That's
share?
awesome.
I think I did.
That,
Like, yeah.
See, that ruined it for me. That ruined it for me. If this could be a gumball machine in your own room and nobody's allowed in and you just enjoy when you want to, that's Christmas.
Right. Well, because I always asked for things like a horse or like a jet, like things that were, not going to happen at that time.
Yeah,
So to me, I was like, whoa.
that's awesome.
That was fun.
I love Stacia Hepburn. She's a hoot, and her giggle is infectious.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man. But you know what? During this time, let me ask you a question. Do you have any staples, like food staples, during the holiday in your household?
For my family, the big thing as far as food is concerned is the big breakfast spread on Christmas morning. And
Wow.
I will, Christmas Eve, one of my chores on Christmas Eve that kind of just started last year was I make homemade French toast.
Really?
Yeah, so we'll buy the bread from the grocery store, from the bakery, and it's the unsliced type bread, white
Okay.
bread. And
Gotcha.
I will slice it thick, like at least an inch or an inch and a half thick. And I'll make the batter and stuff, and I will spend probably an hour and a half, maybe even longer, taking 2 loaves and make it into French toast, and we will have it as
Okay.
part of our Christmas spread on Christmas morning. But Christmas morning, it's everything from pancakes to the French toast to eggs
Wow.
to raisin bread to a whole bunch of fruit, like all that stuff. So we'll have that for breakfast, and we just munch on it through the rest of the day. So
Sweet.
like we don't necessarily make the Christmas dinner
Christmas
a big
dinner,
thing
okay.
because of the
Right.
fact that we've got all this food kicking around. And quite frankly, that's
For
my
breakfast.
breakfast for the next week, right? Because there's so much in the way of leftovers. So staple of food, I mean, the staple would be food,
Yes.
right? What about you?
For us, I'll say one main staple is cassava pie,
Oh, okay.
which is an island thing.
Yeah, definitely.
What's really crazy about it is the fact that my husband, he was born and raised in Florida, and I don't know how to make the cassava pie, but he got the recipe from my sister, and he has carried on the tradition of making the cassava pie every holiday, particularly Christmas. And I think it's a little ridiculous that I don't know how to make it, with it
But
being...
why not delegate? If your husband's willing to make it, go for it, right? One less thing for you to
does
worry about.
I know. He does such a good job. And God forbid if anything ever happened to him, we'd be up a creek.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to do it.
A very
But
important part of Christmas, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Aisha, speaking of food, Daniel Mulkey is here to share with us.
I think, not to overly spiritualize anything, but, gathering together and just praying. We usually did like a breakfast in the morning and then just kind of gathering together as a family and praying and just thanking God for the food, but also kind of thanking God in retrospect for the year as a whole. And that was always really special to me. Just family you don't usually get to see gathering together, holding hands and just praying and just thanking God.
You had me at breakfast.
Okay.
That's a wife. That's my wife's favorite time of the day.
Yeah.
Breakfast. If you don't feed her breakfast, it's not going to be good for anyone that day.
Hey, Daniel, thanks so much for dropping by, brother. That was some good stuff.
And look who's here, the Singing Contractors.
Hey, hey.
Christmas, growing up, reflecting back on it, we just remember that family was always gathered, and we really didn't have much at all. So we knew that we weren't getting a ton of gifts, but what was exciting for us is we knew the family would be together, and we knew we would have a good meal. And really, that's the Christmas that I remember. And knowing the reason of the Christmas is more important than anything to me today. We get sidetracked way too many times about the meaning of Christmas, but that's what I can remember. There's a lot of funny stories we could tell, but Christmas is more about family being together and less about having gifts or giving them or whatever.
And it's about Christ's birth.
Absolutely.
It's not about us, and it's exciting to. One of the songs we sang on our new Christmas record was really cool. Aaron Wilburn wrote it. Was "There's a Baby on the Way," and it just puts everything in perspective. And if everybody would take a step back and just realize the true meaning, I think it really would give them a whole lot better outlook about Christmas. Because when all the gifts are unwrapped and all the hype is over, it can go back to reality really quick.
Yeah.
And so, very thankful for just for parents that taught us the true meaning of Christmas.
Yeah, for me, I guess I'm at the age where I really could care less about the presents. I just want to spend time with family and,
Sure enough.
Thinking about the true meaning of Christmas and not getting too crazy in the whole festive season, if you know what I mean, because
Right.
it is a crazy time of year. And I'll avoid going to the mall just because it's so crowded and stuff.
Right.
Although maybe I'll just go to window shop or watch people shop just for an enjoyment thing. But other than that, I don't want to have to fight for a parking spot. I don't want to have to get all stressed out about the season. I would just like to sit back and enjoy. And sometimes we get so worked up with all this stuff going on, we can't actually enjoy Christmas,
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's good.
The Singing Contractors. And can I say, Aisha, true artists, why not promote their Christmas album at the same time, right? Use this as a
Shameless
forum
plug, you
to
gotta
promote
do it.
your music. There you go.
Oh, man. This is so much fun. I love this time, and I love talking with these artists and folks, them coming back and sharing what they have to share with us. Question for you. Do you have any birthdays around the holiday season in your family?
No. Not for us.
Really?
Yeah, for us,
Okay.
we're very fortunate. I do have a nephew and a niece that have birthdays at the beginning of December.
Wow, okay.
But what about you? Like Christmas, as busy as it is, what else is happening for you in December?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've got our second born. His birthday is a week before Christmas. I've got a niece whose birthday is 2 weeks before Christmas. I've got a sister whose birthday is a week before Christmas. A nephew whose birthday is the day after Christmas. So it's definitely busy all
Right.
around.
When Jesus was born, I wonder if they, the wise men would have considered saying, here, this is a gift for Christmas and your birthday.
Well, it wasn't, according to scholars, supposedly he was like 2 years old when the wise men got to him.
Oh, okay. So then it's okay. Then it's appropriate. I just figured, he's entitled to a Christmas gift and a birthday gift, but,
Right.
Anyways.
Well, speaking of birthdays, here's Lydia Laird with some birthday stories of her own, particularly around the holiday time.
Man, for me, it's just all of us being together, but also my sweet dad. Ever since the beginning of our family, he has made it such an important thing to sit and get around God's Word. That's one of the reasons I love God's Word so much. Growing up, every morning we woke up and had Bible study with my dad. And on Christmas, it's especially special because it's his birthday, which is really sweet. My dad's birthday, yeah. And he is the most humble man you'll ever meet. And every year he spends his birthday sharing about Jesus. And I think that is the most precious thing in the world to me, because he'll sit us down with the Bible tell us the story again every year. And now they've got their 10 kids, and now they've got 16 grandkids so far. And so we'll all just be around like this huge family. And my sweet dad, with his very soft voice, he'll just sit there and he'll read us the Christmas story again. And I think for me, my dad is the best example of Jesus on this earth. And so to see him in that humble place on his birthday, sharing the story about our Savior, it's just like such an example of God's love to me. I just love that.
Yeah, thanks, Lydia. Really appreciate what she had to say about her dad. You know, I can recollect when I was younger, we would be at family get-togethers, and very often my dad was just sitting quietly in the room watching everybody else. And I was a little concerned, thinking to myself that, maybe he's, not having fun or whatever else, something's wrong, whatever. But no, he said he just enjoyed watching everybody having fun. And maybe I'm getting old or something, because I enjoy the same thing. I'd rather just sit back and watch everything else, because I don't want to miss out on anything that's happening.
Right.
And I'll just watch people interacting and having conversations and laughing and joking and doing whatever, happens at these get-togethers. So really appreciate what she had to say.
Yes, indeed. Our daddies are special.
Now, Richland has a story to share about his dad.
Growing up, we didn't have a lot. My dad worked on a ranch, and you don't get rich working on a cattle ranch. But one winter, we woke up to a basketball hoop. My dad bought this really, really nice basketball hoop that he eventually put in the ground. And then my brother got a trampoline. And so I think we were like in 5th grade. I was in 5th grade. I think my brother was like in 3rd grade. And we woke up and just could not believe what our eyes, were looking at, with a brand new basketball hoop and a trampoline out there in our yard. And now, as a dad, just seeing how beautiful that was, that my dad had saved that money. Come to find out, he had built fence and put that money away early in the summer to give his 2 kids, his 2 boys, a really special Christmas. And now, as a dad, you realize just how beautiful and important those moments are. So,
well, and as a dad, you want to do that for your kids, right? So,
right. 100%.
Just the forethought and everything else. I will say, though, that if it was happening in Canada with a basketball hoop and a trampoline, you wouldn't be able to use that stuff for a few months.
The trampoline, we were on it right away. In fact, having the snow on it, because there was snow on the ground, made it even more enjoyable. The basketball hoop didn't get put in the ground for another few months.
Right.
But just knowing that it was coming, was all I needed.
The anticipation, for sure.
That's it.
I so love that, and just the importance of doing what is meaningful and doing what creates great memories. And now we've got Miss Kim Pratt talking about some really fun memories that they've made over the years.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Just growing up, my brother would start these little traditions, and I'm learning now that I'm older, he did it pretty much for his own amusement. For me and my sister. So every Christmas, for whatever reason, he would have us, like, when we would get up early, to open the gifts. And instead of just walking down the stairs, and my parents had this huge staircase, right? Instead of walking down the stairs, we would get on our bellies and slide down the stairs. And I can't remember why the original reason he gave was. I think it's back when, he was like, oh, well, you don't want to, in case Santa Claus is still here, like little stuff like that.
So it's kind of sneaking in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. But it's a huge, like, imagine the Home Alone staircase.
Oh, yeah.
Like a huge staircase. And we're sliding down on our bellies. So when I got older and, we were staying, me and my kids, we all came over to my parents, like, hey, let's spend Christmas at Grandma and Granddad's. So I'm telling them the tradition, and I'm like, hey, we got to slide down on our stomachs. And let's just say I felt every single year of age that I gained since then. Because I'm like trying to slide down the stairs, and I'm like, I'm sore, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm trying to make it fun. And I'm like, how did I do this? This was stupid. Like, in my mind, I'm like, who came up with this? But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, every year, that's what my brother would have us do.
I'd go down the rails. Instead of the stairs, just slide down the rail. That would be a lot safer. You know what I'm saying? Anyways.
Brave.
So let's talk about Christmas gifts. You've slid down the railing now, and you're in front of the tree. Do you guys, first of all, do you have some kind of process of how the gifts are handed out?
You know what? We have in recent years gotten those huge gift bags.
Oh, yeah.
That hold everything. So we'll just give each person in our family their bag.
At the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, just a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one way of looking at it. Yeah.
We'll give it to the kids theirs.
Right.
And then we'll watch them open their things.
Yeah, no, ours is this long stretched out thing where it's one gift at a time per person. I mean, it'll be a 2.5 hour, we'll getting phone calls from family members saying, "How was your Christmas?" And no, we're still opening gifts. It's a lengthy process. We make one person in charge of handing out the gifts, and usually it ends up being my daughter because she'll try to do it real fast. But we
it's so organized.
But yeah, we all take turns and everything else. But speaking of gifts, every year now, and again, maybe I'm showing my age, but every year it's like, "Dad, what do you want for Christmas?" And
right,
I don't need anything.
Right.
I don't need anything. I don't want anything. So now for me, I hate to say this, but now for me, I just tell my kids, because they're working and they don't have any real expenses, so they're making more money than I am. So what I tell them is, I just want cash.
Note taken.
There you go. I'll send you a list. Yeah, so send me cash. Sorry. Everybody who's listening right now to Between the Grooves, send me cash. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Merry Christmas. What about you, Aisha? What's like gifts as far as what you like to get? Like candles? That's what my kids do with my wife. Here's a candle again.
Right. No, it's crazy. My folks do a fabulous job at, my mom in particular. Everything cute that I own comes from her.
Okay.
And it's so that's probably one of the things that I look forward to most years is whatever bag or package is coming from my mom, because they just look out for me with clothes and shoes, and that's kind of the gift that keeps on giving for me.
Right.
But yeah, speaking of gifts, man, it's such a pleasure to get to talk with this guy once again and hear what special gift he got that meant so much to him over the years. Mr. Talkbox.
Big moment for me was when I was a kid. I don't know how old I was. I was about 5 or 6 actually. And I woke up, I was excited about Christmas because my parents had put all these gifts out. But one of the best gifts that I remember getting, and I didn't, the excitement that I had when I saw it was a drum set. That it was a Muppet drum set, the one that had Animal's face kind of plastered on the front.
Great, Muppets,
yeah. And when I got there, I walked around that corner and saw the drum set. That was the birthing of Mr. Talkbox right then in that moment. I never forget it. And that was the drum set that initiated me into playing in my mom and dad's gospel group, because one of the drummers didn't show up at rehearsal. So I pulled my little Muppet drum set out while they were rehearsing, and I started playing the music, and my parents were like, "Wow, this guy has an actual gift
That's
to
awesome.
play music." So
yeah.
I was in the band immediately.
So are you suggesting that parents get
That's
their
awesome.
kids the drum set for Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Get them a drum set, get them a guitar, get them a keyboard, get them something at an early age. Because
I'm with you on all the instruments. I just thought the drums might be that little noisy thing that you just don't want to hear them,
Yeah.
That's how it starts, though.
That's true.
How it starts.
That's true.
Oh yeah, that's how it starts. I literally it sparked something in me, and it was amazing. I'll never forget that moment.
We made that investment this year, actually, in our oldest boy.
What musical instrument?
Guitar.
Is this something he is getting this year?
He knows.
Justine, if you can make sure that her son doesn't hear this, because when he opens his gift on Sunday morning, right?
He knows already.
I like the idea of musical instruments or something music related. Although my only caution is for a young child, whether it's the recorder or drums or the kazoo or something that's really loud and annoying.
Yes.
For a while, you just have to use wisdom as to the age that they get something and what you're getting for them. So, well, Madison from Elevation Rhythm is here, and she's got something to share with regards to music as well.
I remember, I think I was 12, and my parents bought me an amp, and I had an acoustic guitar, and they bought me a custom amp, and I was just so shocked to receive that gift, but I learned how to use it, and I think that was probably like the best gift I had received, but it also shaped like my future, and I hadn't expected it to. And so I think that was probably something memorable, is like, while we can receive, gifts and all of those things, we don't realize how the small things in holidays and spending time with family and seeing different things can affect our future. And so that was probably something that stuck with me throughout the years. Is it may not be necessarily the physical idea of the gift, but it's what can shift your future in ways that you can't really expect it to.
Yeah, something music related lasts forever, right? Especially if you come from a musically inclined family or you're interested in music, whether it's a guitar, an instrument of some sort, or like Madison said, an amp, it's going to last a long time and you're going to use it over and over again. Not like something disposable like a toy, something that you just use a few times and then you forget about it, right?
Unless, of course, you're a collector.
True.
And it's a collector's item.
Well, isn't that what happened to Vaughn Thompson?
Yes. And he's here to tell us about it.
The Christmas I got the Optimus Prime from the Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the most amazing gift experience as a child. Like, that was, just wanting that all year and finally getting that, like, to the point where I actually, as a collector, I repurchased that, in the box and in excellent condition, and it's all graded and everything now as a collector. Like, it was, that was an amazing Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's so important to get a gift for someone that they would appreciate, that they would want, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes people give gifts that are like, well, this is what I like, so I'm going to get it for you. But you might not appreciate it. You might not like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And really, it just comes down to being selfless.
Yeah.
And thinking of others, which is what Aaron Rice has to talk about. And just thinking about his folks and creating traditions and doing what would make someone else overjoyed and it be meaningful, really meaningful. So here's Aaron Rice with what he's got to share about Christmas time.
My family goes nuts at Christmas. They did before I was married and now even after. One of the big things that happened every year was whatever kind of the big gift was, the culminating gift or whatever, was always some form of a game or scavenger hunt. But it wasn't like just around the house scavenger hunt. It was like crazy clues. Like, it could take hours for you to find your gift. And I'll never forget one year, my brother and I were out of the house. We were grown, but this was when digital cameras were just starting to become a thing. And we bought my parents a digital camera, and my dad was a pastor in Florida, sent him on a scavenger hunt all over their town. But we documented the scavenger hunt with the digital camera the entire time. And we laugh about it almost every year. They ended up back in their house, and the box of the camera was in the freezer. And so they get to it, and then they're like freaking out that the camera had been in the freezer the whole time. But we have all these pictures of every step of the way, and we laugh about that almost every year. It's a lot of fun.
And when did you tell them the camera that you were using to document this whole thing was theirs?
They caught it when they opened up the box and realized it was full of
Okay.
I don't remember what it was. And then they just
that is awesome.
I was like, here you go. I mean, but my family is like that. We're not giving you hints. You're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 45 years old, and now we do it with my daughter.
You know what? I'm so big on family. I love that, what Aaron shared. And creating traditions, and it's so important. He talked a little bit about before he was married and then after getting married, and just incorporating family with all of it is so important.
And I love the scavenger hunt idea. Like, what a unique thing. If there's anything you get out of this Christmas special on Between the Grooves, is just getting ideas like this to do with your family and start new traditions and whatnot. Right. I just love that. And speaking of family, here's David from Elevation Rhythm.
For me, Christmas was always just a time that I can remember a full house. My parents, we never spent Christmas alone as a family. We always had extended family, and we never had a big house, but there always seemed to be enough room for all of my aunts and uncles and cousins. And so anytime I think about Christmas, I think about, oh my gosh, just loud people, fun and games. We always played Uno till like 2 o'clock in the morning. There was always someone that was going to break a plate because it was just always got chaotic. And so Christmas to me represents just a fun time with family where everyone is invited and no one is left alone. So that's Christmas for me.
Thanks, David. You know, Christmas Day for us, we always have my mother and mother-in-law over, which is kind of different. We invite them over for the breakfast that we have, and then we just let them chill at our house. So we, you know, they unwrap their gifts, we unwrap their gifts and whatnot. And then after that, it's everybody do what you want. You know, just relax, watch a movie, have conversation or whatever else. But yeah, I love the whole family aspect. We don't get into the Uno thing as much, although I wouldn't be surprised. Like, we do love playing Uno. It's like Monopoly. It can go on forever, right?
That's the truth.
Oh, let's play again. Oh, let's play again. And and I always tell my kids I'm always playing strategically. It just means I'm not really playing very well. You know, every time I lose, I'm playing strategically. I'm forward thinking ahead here. Yeah.
There you go.
So that's a
Family is everything.
That's a fun thing to do, is play Uno. I don't know if my mother-in-law would necessarily get into that. I could see my mom getting into it, but
really,
yeah. But that's one thing that we enjoy is having them over, spending time with them because they're alone. Their spouses are gone, and so having them be a part of our family, I think is really, really important. And, when I get older, I hope my kids do that for me as well.
You better know it. You reap what you sow.
Exactly. So, having them there as we open gifts together is really meaningful.
Speaking of opening gifts, it's time to do that now.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's talk to Ben Fuller.
Coming from Vermont, coming from a state that's 2% Christian, coming from not going to church my whole life, what Christmas was to us was now my family is not all that close, I guess. Looking back at all the things, we never really opened up and told each other things and never really shared a lot of honesty, and it was really difficult. But what Christmas was for me was we would all come together. And my sister, my mom, and my dad and I, after finishing chores, on the farm, we would all sit and rip open presents together. And it was a moment where we just, as a family, would be in the same room. And it was about the gifts. It was about, what'd you get? And, oh, man, I wanted that. Or it was about that. But it was about being together. And so now looking at it, I'm just so grateful to spend that together time with my family. As much as it wasn't about Jesus for us, it was about, hey, we can do this together as a family. And it was, looking back on it, we had some really beautiful memories that we really didn't take note of. It was kind of very overlooked, but it's become so important to me now.
Man, thanks, Ben. You know what? Just with what he shared makes me think of how oftentimes during the holidays, particularly Christmas, there's some family drama of some sort.
Oh, yes.
But it's so nice, though, to remember that, like, such sweet times of reconciliation happen over the holidays. Man, and it makes for great memories.
I got to ask you, Aisha, you mentioned a few weeks ago that you were going with a safari theme this year for Christmas. How's that working out?
I'm so excited. It's my first time doing something like this, and I absolutely love it. And everyone that has seen it, they love it too. It's different. It's unique.
Yeah. Something different.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And how are the
and I
kids
think
enjoying it?
They love it too.
I like when you're able to take something like Christmas and put a spin on it like that, right?
Right.
And that's what Jake Smith is here to share with us about as far as what they've done at Christmas time.
So I can remember, this is something that my parents used to read, The Cajun Night Before Christmas. And it's a book that's like, it's so the Cajun, not the night before Christmas, so it's written as if a Cajun person was, telling the story. And so if you can look it up and try to, read it yourself, because it's kind of interesting. You'll hear that French Cajun accent come out when you read this book. But I can always remember my uncle was already Cajun, trying to read The Cajun Night Before Christmas, and then the words just didn't even make sense. It's almost like they canceled each other out because his accent was so strong. And he would dress like Santa Claus, and he'd come in, and we would all sit around, and it wasn't even about what he was saying, because you couldn't understand it. It was just the fact that every year you knew he was gonna say it, and dress like Santa Claus. So that was a great, personal memory for me. It's another reminder it's more about being with your family than it is about the events, and so I always think about that.
Man, I have such an appreciation for different cultures, especially during the holidays. Here's Blessing Offor with his spin on Christmas, specifically being from Nigeria.
When I was a kid and we would do Christmas in Nigeria, most of all of our energy was spent towards making sure everybody could get back and making a feast and everybody eating and everybody being together. And if I recall, we got like 2 presents each. You know what I mean? That's it. Everybody got 1 or 2 gifts, and that was it. And there was never like okay, open your gift. It was just like, hey, here's what we got you. Okay, put that away. Let's go hang out with everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so Christmas for me has always been about getting people together. I do this thing I call Misfits Christmas in Nashville. It's just like, if I'm in town, I get all my friends over that are also in town. The first time I did it, I was like, I can't remember why, but I was stuck in Nashville for Christmas. And I thought, surely there are people around. And I put out this Facebook post. There's like, hey guys, like, I'm in town for Christmas. Who's around? Let's do Christmas together. And crickets, right? And I said, this is not true. It's not true. So I said, I will take care of food and drinks.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, hey man, I guess I'm in town if you still want to do that thing.
Of course.
But you have to be the one that goes, hey, I'm also here for Christmas. And I don't have plans, and it's okay if you don't either. Let's do it together. Let's be our Christmas, you know what I mean? And so all of a sudden, everybody came out of the woodwork, because there are a lot of people in town who were kind of embarrassed to say they don't have plans, or that their family isn't nearby, or whatever. And it's gotten to where people will go, hey, are you doing Misfits Christmas this year? And it's become a thing, because it's okay to say, hey, it's Christmas and I'm not with my family. What's happening? Let's all be together. You know what I mean? So that's always been it for me. It's just like, how many people can you get together in a room to make sure everybody feels the love that is Christmas,
You know, Aisha, when I was a teen, it was very similar, except the day after Christmas. I would get together with all my friends, and we would hop from house to house eating leftovers. Literally, like it would be, say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we finally get together. We're at one person's house. We would just chow down and eat, and then hang around for an hour, hour and a half, and then go off to the next guy's house. And their parents would be there, and it's like, oh, you guys need to eat. And so we'd eat again, and we'd be eating every 2-3 hours. That's feast.
Holiday hopping.
Yeah, holiday hopping with our friends. It was all because of the food. So I can appreciate what Blessing Offor had to say as far as, enticing people, saying, hey, I'm going to provide the food. And then, of course, everybody's going to come over. But the food was just to get them there. And once they're there, they get to spend the time together, right?
That's it.
Yeah. Speaking of Nigeria and hopping from place to place, let's go to Australia with Rebecca St. James.
Christmas growing up was very different because it was summer at Christmas. And so we'd get together with the cousins. I have 24 first cousins. And so we'd get together and we'd go swim at Christmas. And we'd go find a little Charlie Brown tree and hang some lights on it. But it was definitely not this epic, snow, cold,
Well, not if you're swimming.
Beautiful tree, none of that. And so very, very different experience. But also for me, I think one of the most precious parts of Christmas each year is just sitting down at some point when the house is quiet and with the tree there and all the lovely decorations and just thinking through what God has done in this past year and reflecting on life and really just taking a moment and taking it all in. What was God taught me? What am I learning in this season? What are the beautiful things that are gifts from Him that He has given me in my life, and take a moment of gratitude for that. And so I love the reflection of the Christmas season. I think it's something that's very, very important and very powerful.
That's so important because we oftentimes can get caught up in the hustle and bustle of the holidays. And it's so important to just sit for a minute, like she said, and just take it all in. Don't rush. Don't, get you a cup of Joe. Yeah. I got my own personal cup of Joe.
It's an interesting perspective, too, to hear Christmas in Australia when it's summertime.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because she was mentioning about going swimming and stuff. And I remember this one.
We can, too.
Well, it's funny you say that because now I don't know that this was necessarily Christmas, but I remember going to my brother's in-laws place. And I don't think it was actually at Christmas. Maybe it was a month later or something like that. But of course, being in Ontario, Canada, there's snow on the ground. It's in the middle of winter. And his in-laws, it sounds strange, but they had a hot tub in their living room.
In their living room?
Yeah, and just the way that the house, it was one of their living rooms, if you want to call it that. It was like a big family room, and they had a hot tub right in the middle and stuff, and it was indoor. And so what we would do is we would sit in the hot tub, and then we made a trail of blankets or towels to the side door of the house.
Oh,
and we would get out of the hot tub, run outside, roll in the snow, and run back into the hot tub.
Oh, yeah. Mercy.
It was a riot. Can I tell you, when you go back into the hot tub, it's so much hotter. it's you get the stinging sensation when you jump in there. It's just like, oh, I don't know if I can handle the heat. But that just kind of got me thinking when she mentioned about the fact that they go swimming. Yeah, we went swimming in the snow.
Adventures, and more adventures. Well, here to talk about some more adventures, John Reddick.
We bought a house a couple of years ago, and right when I moved in, I ordered this hardwood floor, ripped up the carpet. I pulled the carpet out of the living room, and and I was like, yes, the hardwood floor is coming. And then COVID hit, and then they were like, yeah, hardwood floor is discontinued. Sorry, here's your money back. I'm like, oh snap! So like the living room was just concrete, and so then came Christmas. So we have this I don't know, this four-season kind of sunroom in the back. So we put the Christmas tree in the sunroom in the back, and I was like, man, this is kind of cool. Like windows all around. Now I'm in Nashville, so it doesn't really snow during Christmas all the time, but it actually did this time, and you just. Christmas trees back there, you could see all the snow outside, so it was this great moment, right? So I was like, shoot, from now on, y'all, we're putting the Christmas tree back here, and everybody's like, yeah. So now our Christmas tradition is to have a tree in the back, whether or not we have one in the front, that's fine. But,
awesome.
But definitely
that's great.
In the back.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah. Kind of a forced tradition in a sense, right? Like you didn't plan for it, but it just ends up happening, and so it just keeps going forward every year after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have our final guest on our Christmas edition of Between the Grooves. Tuzi is back with us.
In Liberia, I'm going to go way back to Liberia. As a kid growing up, there were these, I don't know, we do it still here in Canada, these, it's like a Christmas child box, a Christmas box. So I remember getting one of those boxes from someone I didn't know. But it was just amazing that someone across the world would think of a girl like me, way over there. And I think that's what Christmas, I think that's what I love about Christmas so much, because it's the love that it brings. It's just so full of love. I see it here in Canada, and even when I was back home where we didn't have toys and Christmas presents, You wait for those Christmas boxes. Maybe you might get it, maybe not. But there was still love, you know. We didn't have turkey. Like right now we have to have our turkey, but we didn't have all those things. But love surrounded us. It's like, I don't know, there's something about that time of Christmas.
Operation Christmas Child. Yeah, I love that. And the nice thing about Operation Christmas Child, obviously there's the big push in, I guess it's November, for churches to put stuff in the boxes. And the reason why they do it so early is because they got to get these boxes sent out and arrive at their destination on time. But the nice thing about Operation Christmas Child is you can still give online all year long, which is great. So yeah, love that story.
I love that.
I was not expecting that from her, so really appreciate her. And appreciate all the many guests for dropping by or calling in, sharing Christmas with us. Hey, if you have a story that you would like to share about Christmas, please leave it in the comments. We would love to hear from you. We are on Facebook and Twitter at Between Grooves and on Instagram at Between Grooves Pod. Aisha, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
She started with singing. She ends with singing. Of course.
Love, 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 and more love. When it's all said and done, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
I really enjoyed getting together. All year long we've had the opportunity to chat with people, but having them all come back was great. And just sharing Christmas and allowing everybody else to share their Christmas with us and vice versa. So that was a lot of fun.
Really special.
On behalf of our producer, Justine, Aisha Woods, and James Curtis, wishing you guys an awesome Christmas.
Thanks for listening to Faith Strong Today's Between the Grooves podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider sharing it with your friends, rating our podcast, or giving us some love on your socials to your amazing friends and followers will only help us reach more people. We'd also love to hear from you and share your feedback in an upcoming episode. Send your video or written message to Aisha and James on Facebook and Twitter at Between Grooves, or email us anytime, hello@faithstrongtoday.com.